There's this journalist named Diego Marquez, 34 years old, living in Mexico City. He's not some conspiracy nut. He's actually a respected investigative reporter, the kind of guy newspapers calls when they need the truth dug out. So, back in 2019, he gets an anonymous message from some clerk working for the Ministry of Defense. The guy told him to come see him if he wanted the biggest story of his career. This anonymous guy told Diego to meet him in Zacatecas at midnight. "Come alone," he said. Diego thought it was some drug trafficking lead. When he got there, in this abandoned warehouse on the edge of town, this anonymous guy handed him a sealed folder. No words, just says, "Don't open this until you're home. And if anyone asks, you never met me." Inside was some classified photos of a blurry aerial images, something huge buried in the Sonoran Desert. It looked like a perfectly circular structure, at least a mile wide, with strange geometric lines radiating from it like spokes on a wheel. An attachment to the photos was a transcript, an intercepted radio transmission between two military pilots. One pilot was panicking, saying something massive just rose out of the ground like the desert opened up and that their instruments went completely dead. The last thing on the recording before it cuts off was this voice, calm, not human, saying, "This territory is not yours. Leave." At this point, Diego didn't know if any of this fraction is true. It's the story of the century. So he books a flight, rented a Jeep, and drives into the desert with a friend who happens to be a cameraman. They were out there for hours, nothing but dust, heat, and silence. Then his friend notices something. All their GPS devices stop working. Phones, cameras, even the Jeep's dashboard freezes. The next thing Diego remembers was waking up in his apartment 3 days later. No memory of getting back. His phone was smashed. His friend was nowhere to be found. 2 days later, soldiers show up at his building to take every scrap of evidence he notes, his backup drives, even his laptop. They told him he was very lucky and that for his own safety, he should stop asking questions. But here's the part that scares him till this day. A week later, a package arrives at his office with no return address. Inside was a single Polaroid. It's of Diego and his friend, standing in front of that massive circular structure in the desert. Neither of them remember ever taking that picture. And then, his friend has not been found yet, and the government never acknowledged any of it. If you search hard enough, in certain dark corners of old digital archives, you'll find a single, unverified report from a leaked memo that simply says, "Project Kukulkan is secure. Public awareness minimal. Containment successful." No one knows what Project Kukulkan is, but Diego swears that even now, when he drives past certain military basements and his car radio cuts out for a split second, he hears that same calm voice saying, "This territory is not yours." If you like this kind of stories, kindly leave a like and support my channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.